The Vegas Golden Knights are looking to defend their first ever Stanley Cup championship. Chris Gawlik of Locked On VGK joins us to talk about that next on the Locked On NHL 2023-2024 season preview. The NHL season is less than a week away, and Locked On season preview coverage continues as we welcome in host Chris Gawlik of Locked On Vegas Golden Knights to detail everything you need to know about the defending Stanley Cup champions ahead of the 2023-2024 season. Chris, what would you say is the biggest storyline surrounding VGK coming into the season?
Can they repeat? The band stayed together, so to speak. We've heard many times from Kelly McCrimmon and Bruce Cassidy as of yesterday talking about how the team is in a fortunate position because basically the same team came back. Les Riley Smith, of course, traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but now the Golden Knights get a full season of Ivan Barbashev's services at 5 years younger than Riley Smith, and perhaps I won't say hungrier, but can contribute at a different level and to really keep that top line with Marchessault and Eichel clicking at all cylinders.
Yeah, that always helps, no doubt about that. What was the most significant offseason move that Vegas made and why?
I think I just kind of hit on it a little bit. So last season, once Ivan Barbashev joined the Golden Knights, Jack Eichel goes on to lead all of playoffs in scoring, and Jonathan Marchessault ends up winning the Conn Smythe Awards, or Conn Smythe Trophy, excuse me. So Ivan Barbashev's importance to this team cannot be stated enough. A sub answer to that same question is also locking up Adin Hill to a 2-year extension at $4.9 million per, a little bit high, but this assures the Golden Knights should have a good 1A and 1B tandem, health pending, of course.
Yeah, no question about that. And you want to lock up a guy who helped you win a Stanley Cup, so that certainly makes sense. Who figures to be the most important player on the Knights this year, and what makes them so crucial to the team's success?
Mark Stone's back is the most important player on the Golden Knights. Mark Stone's looked really good in the captain's skates last week, and then, of course, he's looked good in the first day of training camp. Let's see what happens once, especially once the Edmonton Oilers come to town and they start going after those soft spots in Mark Stone's back. Is it going to be a spot where he plays the first 40 games and then he's hurt for the last 40 games and we go through all the cap circumvention drama again? I don't know if that's going to happen. I personally see the ceiling as 50 games for Mark Stone. He's only played a total of 80 of the last 164 regular season games. Continuation on the same question, of course, Jack Eichel and his growth will be very, very interesting to see as well, and see if he can get himself in that Selke conversation possibly.
How about a potential breakout candidate for VGK? Is there a player that people should know about that maybe they haven't heard of yet?
Up until the day before yesterday, I've been banging the drum about Pavel Dorofeyev. He played basically the last 18 games of the regular season, 7 goals, 2 assists. So he certainly made a quick impact. There's a competition in training camp right now, pretty much between Dorofeyev, Paul Cotter, and then PTO tryouts Max Comtois from the Anaheim Ducks. And Paul Cotter got the nod yesterday on the line with William Karlsson and Mike Amadio. Cotter looked good yesterday. He was just his synergy with William Karlsson. Again, it's day one of training camp. Let's not go too far into this, but his synergy with William Karlsson was there. His energy, his drive. And this might be the Paul Cotter show once the season gets going. I got a feeling he's going to do a lot more than anyone expected.
All right, someone to keep an eye on there. What would a successful season look like for the Vegas Golden Knights, and what's at stake if that is not achieved?
I mean, there's some house money, not to use the cliche Vegas term here. They won the Stanley Cup last season. So what could possibly happen this season where the sky is going to be falling? I don't think a whole lot personally. I think a reasonable expectation for a team coming off of a Stanley Cup victory is doing well in the regular season, comfortably in the playoffs, winning at least one playoff series. I would like to, of course, go a lot deeper than that, but reasonably, just based on historical data and teams when they come back for their, to defend the cup, it's very difficult. Short off season injuries, we can go a mile long, except the New York Islanders did it 4 times. There you go. Every time Gil will do that.
40 years ago, but yeah.
I don't care. They did it. They did it.
Yes, they did.
Few less teams, but they did it. They did it. So long story longer, winning one playoff series would be good. If the team falters during the regular season and for some reason the playoffs just seem out of reach, which could happen. I mean, anyone that doesn't want to acknowledge that just doesn't watch hockey enough. It could happen. If the Golden Knights have a troublesome season, Jonathan Marchessault, Chandler Stevenson are UFAs after the season is over. Marchessault has been here on a very team-friendly deal at $5 million per season that he has exceeded basically every year from a statistical perspective. It's your 6 at 5 or 5 at 6, but either way, he's outperforming his contract. And speaking of outperforming your contract, Chandler Stevenson has been well outperforming his contract, chipping in 60 points a season, and it's like a $3 million per season cap hit or something like that. So if things don't work out, there could be a path where they do get traded to bring in assets that could help in the 24-25 season.
All right. So pivotal season ahead for Vegas. Chris, thank you so much. For more on the Vegas Golden Knights, be sure to follow Locked On Golden Knights on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And check out season previews for all 32 teams across the Locked On NHL channel, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.